I am Luciana Hartwin. Welcome to the Temple of Bastet. If you find value here, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. Sleek, graceful, and mysterious, cats have captivated humans for thousands of years. They move like shadows dipped in sunlight, whispering secrets to the air and carrying fragments of the night within their eyes. No place on earth revered them more than ancient Egypt, a land where gods walked among mortals, and the Nile hummed with stories older than time. It wasn't just their beauty that earned them a place of honor. It was something far deeper, a sense of power, of quiet danger held delicately between their sharp teeth and velvet paws. Cats did not simply exist in Egypt, they ruled, both in the sunlit streets and the hallowed temples, as guardians of grain and spirit alike. They became woven into the fabric of myth, protectors of home and heart, and avatars of the divine. Today we're exploring the enigmatic world of cats in ancient Egypt, their domestication, their rise from humble hunters to sacred symbols, and their embodiment of both tenderness and ferocity. To understand the cat's role is to glimpse the soul of a civilization that saw divinity not just in power, but in grace. The domestication of cats. It begins, as all things do, with necessity, with hunger, and with small, sharp teeth gnawing at grain stores meant to sustain human life. 4,000 years ago, cats found their way to the heart of ancient Egypt, not as honored guests, but as quiet intruders. Drawn to the granaries like moths to flame, they came to hunt, their bodies moving in elegant silence, stalking the scurrying thieves that threatened the precious harvest. The Egyptians watched with curious eyes, recognizing something remarkable in these creatures who made their home among the sacks of grain and the cracked clay jars. The cats did not merely kill, they danced death's waltz with the vermin, quick and lethal, graceful and precise. There was something undeniably otherworldly about them, something that demanded respect and perhaps even worship. So a partnership was born, unspoken but undeniable. The cats guarded the grain, and in return, the Egyptians let them linger, allowed them into the corners of their lives. Slowly, cautiously, the relationship deepened. The cats crept from granary to courtyard, from courtyard to home, weaving themselves into the rhythms of human life. Once inside, they became more than just hunters. They became companions, silent, knowing witnesses to human dreams and struggles. Their presence soothed the household, keeping away not just rodents, but ill fortune itself. Families cradled them with tenderness, wrapped them in the warmth of a belief that the cat's watchful eyes guarded more than just food. They protected the very soul of the home. It was no longer a matter of chance or convenience. It was devotion, born of admiration and a subtle understanding that something powerful lay within those yellow-green eyes. The Egyptians didn't domesticate cats as much as they invited them to stay, allowed them to claim a place in their hearts and in their stories, where they would live forever as both protectors and gods. Cats as symbols of protection and power. Imagine a presence at the edge of your vision, something graceful and lethal, both familiar and unknowable. A guardian with watchful eyes that glint like fragments of the sun, poised to strike down anything that dares to threaten the sanctuary of home. In ancient Egypt, cats were more than companions. They were the silent sentinels, warding off not just rats and mice, but ill fortune and malevolent spirits. To the Egyptians, a cat was a fragment of the divine, a living embodiment of protection and power. Their alert posture, their keen gaze that seemed to pierce through shadows, these were not just the traits of a skilled hunter, but of a guardian spirit. A household with a cat was a household safeguarded, not just from vermin, but from the darker things that slink through the night, unseen and uninvited. Their hunting prowess, swifter than thought and sharper than iron, became synonymous with solar power itself, a reflection of the sun god's retribution upon those who threatened order. To see a cat reclining beneath a woman's chair in ancient artwork was not merely a portrait of domestic tranquility, but a symbol of vigilance, protection, and fierce loyalty. Cats were the quiet heart of the household, a heartbeat that thrummed with danger held at bay. To look upon them was to remember that safety is never guaranteed, but won through quiet, ceaseless vigilance. The Goddess Bastet, feline deity of home and war. In the heart of Egypt, where the sands whisper secrets to the wind, and the Nile hums with ancient songs, there was a goddess whose nature danced on the razor's edge between ferocity and grace. She was Bastet, the lioness who became a cat, the embodiment of both war and gentleness. She prowled through myths with the elegance of a predator, her amber eyes holding both wrath and warmth, fierce protector and tender nurturer in one. Bastet was not always the soft-footed guardian we imagine today. In the earliest days, she wore the face of a lioness, burning with the wild fury of the sun, smiting those who dared to threaten her people. Her claws were drenched in the blood of Egypt's enemies, and her roar sent terror into the hearts of those who would defy her. She was power incarnate, unapologetic, and unbound. But as centuries unfurled like lotus petals, she softened, not in strength, but in presence. The lioness gave way to the domestic cat, and Bastet became the goddess of home and hearth, of music and dance, of sensuality and warmth. She was the guardian of women and children, fierce still, but tempered with love. Worshippers gathered at her grand temple in Babustis, celebrating her dual nature with music, revelry, and offerings, dancing until dawn in honor of the goddess who protected with both claw and comfort. Cats themselves were sacred to her, living embodiments of the divine. To harm a cat was not just an offense against the creature, but a blasphemy against Bastet herself. Killing one, even by accident, was punishable by death. When cats passed from this life, they were mummified with care and laid to rest with reverence, their tiny forms wrapped in linen, eyes painted on their bandaged faces, as if to grant them sight in the afterlife. Bastet's spirit lived within every cat, from the fierce hunters that kept the granaries safe to the soft, purring companions curled on their masters' laps. To love a cat was to honor Bastet. To protect them was to pay tribute to the goddess who safeguarded home and heart alike. And when twilight fell over Egypt and the world whispered of danger, it was the cats who remained, the silent guardians, watching, waiting, embodying both the tenderness and the ferocity of their divine mistress. Cats in mythology and folklore. There's something about cats that holds the very essence of sunlight, captured in the glint of their eyes, sharp and burning, like twin suns. In ancient Egypt, they became not just creatures of comfort, but symbols of the divine, bound to the sun god Ra himself. It was their ferocity, their lethal grace that made them sacred. In stories worshipped through reed and shadow, cats fought against chaos itself. When the serpent Apep threatened to devour the sun, it was the great cat of Ra that leapt forth, claws flashing like golden blades, to strike down the writhing chaos. To slay a snake was to reaffirm order, to maintain the fragile harmony that kept light in the sky. And so cats were not just protectors of home, they were guardians of the world's very balance. In homes and palaces alike they lingered, more than mere pets. Adorned with gold, their collars gleamed like the first light of dawn, marking them as creatures of status and reverence. It was said that a cat's presence could ward off malevolent spirits, keeping both the mundane and the magical at bay. They became silent sentinels of the noble and the common alike, trusted to guard the heart of the household with both tooth and spirit. The fall from divinity, cats and later periods. Time is a cruel, capricious creature. As Egypt's power waned and foreign gods claimed the sands, cats fell from their divine perch. No longer worshipped, they became mortal once more. Yet their legacy lingered. Though they lost their godhood, their grace remained untarnished, and whispers of their protective magic clung like dust to the crumbling stones. Even in their fall, they were never quite ordinary, never just cats. From fierce hunters to divine protectors, cats moved through ancient Egypt like shadows kissed by sunlight, both deadly and beloved. They stood as guardians, as symbols of power, and as incarnations of the goddess herself. Though centuries have passed, their legacy endures, reminding us of a time when felines were more than just companions. They were sacred beings that walked between the worlds of mortals and gods. If you've ever looked into a cat's eyes and glimpsed a spark of something ancient and untamed, perhaps it's a memory of that golden age. Share your thoughts on the mystique of cats and their place in myth. If you found value here, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. I am Luciana Hartwin. Thank you for joining me today here in the Temple of Bastet.